Pas de soleil, 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 pas de soleil.
Welcome to my channel. My name is Ndifon Ntui. On this channel I make swim tutorials. I post new videos on Wednesdays and on Saturdays. So if you're into stuff like this, make sure to check back on those days in order to watch new content. Alright, if you are a beginner or if you're a person that's trying to brush up on your skills, I offer online courses. I'll be showing a demo on how to make a jumpsuit so you can watch on the side if it will be convenient for you to learn online. If you're interested, send me a message on Telegram. Alright, number is on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, please give it a like. Do not forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Have a lovely day. Bye bye. Welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to show you how to make the dress that you've seen on the thumbnail and in the and at the beginning of the video. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draft the top part of a body, just the top part, no need for bust, just the shoulder to your armhole. That's the part I'm going to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw ½ inch allowance, that's for my shoulder, and then I'm going to place my shoulder measurement 15 divided by 2, 7.5. I've sloped my shoulder by 1 inch, and then I would place my armhole at 7.5. The armhole, my bust is 30 divided by 6 is 6 plus 1.5, 7.5. If you don't know how to draft the body, see my video on how to draft the bodies. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my neckline measurement. So the neckline, I want it to be a bit high, so I'm going to use a neckline width of 3 and a neckline depth of 3. So 3 for the width, 3 for the depth. So you can see me applying that now. You can use whatever neckline you want, but this is to achieve what you've seen in the video. I'm now going to cut it out and we're going to use this pattern. So you see what I said, this is all you need. You don't need the bust and all of that. Next thing you would do is you will need to fold your fabric. Alright, so I'm going to fold it, I will fold it like half of a fillet. Alright, so I won't fold it like the full peplum fillet, just what you can see me doing here, half like so. Alright, and then what I'm going to do next is I'll take my pattern and I'm going to push it as high up as possible to save my fabric. Alright, and then I'm going to put the paperweight on top. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my dress length. So you need 2 lengths, okay? First of all, the length from the shoulder to the end of the fillet before the gathers, and then the entire dress length. All right, so for me the complete dress length is 35 inches, and from the shoulder to the end of the fillet before the gather start is 31. So that is 31/35. All right, so you need to take 2 measurements, the full length and the length from the shoulder to the end of the fillet. So that's the first step I'm placing now, 31. I'm placing that now. So I'm going to come to 31. I'm going to make a mark here. All right, so you're going to, you see, have 8 inches here. From here to here is 8 inches. I'm going to take that 8 inch and I'm going to place it at the armhole, and I'm going to use that to mark where 31 stops at that part. You see that? I'm going to simply place 31 now everywhere, keeping 8 at the end of my bodies. Okay, when I'm done with that, I will simply connect it together. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to connect my armhole to the end of the fillet. All right, we're going to create an extension. So you see, from here to here, I'm going to roll a line like so, and then cutting ½ inch at the bottom for allowance. All right, cut my neck, the shoulder, armhole, and then cut straight down. We are going to come over to the armhole so that you don't forget where your armhole stops. We are going to make a notch at this point here, so that you know that this is where the armhole stops. You see that? That notch is going to guide you. We will need it later on by the time we start to piece all of this together. I'm now going to make a similar fold for the back. Okay, so I'm going to fold like so, place my pattern on top. All right, but as you can see, I'm arranging it and I'm keeping it 1 inch deeper. All right, the patterns are basically the same. The only difference is that we're going to have 1 inch in front of here, and then I will cut the neckline higher. All right, so in the front we did 3 inches for the width, 3 inches for the depth. The neckline width would have to stay the same at 3 inches, but the depth is going to come down, will be only 1 inch deep. So now first keeping half inch, that half inch allowance I kept on the top of my paper, and then I would come down by 1 inch. So you see the difference. The neckline at the back is higher than the front. In front of here, I simply have 1 inch. That's my zipper allowance. For the small zipper, I would fix at the back. But for every other part of the pattern is the same as the front, as you would see me cut out now. Now another thing, if you notice, I did not use the bust point. I did the bust. I did not use the hip. That's because we're cutting this as a triangle. Your bust will definitely have to enter. So for instance, this is my bust area. The bust is 36. You can see 36. Look at where 9 is. Look at what the excess I have. The hip is 43. Let me come down to where the hip is. All right, so around where I have the hip is 43. That's like 10.75. So you can see where 10.75 stops, and look at all the allowance I have. So this is going to enter. But if you're one of the people that you know your hip is looking as if it's getting too close to the edge, then I don't have any solution for you, because I don't support troublemaking, and I don't understand why your hip should be that big. So you're on your own if your hip doesn't fit, and you are most likely a South African. well, don't mind me. Every other thing is basically the same, is going to enter. So I'm going to cut it out. All right, like so, like so, like so. I'm also going to make a notch at this point here so that I know where that part is. Cut upon your zipper allowance. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is cut the bottom part of the dress. That's the bottom part of the dress that has that balloon effect, the part that's gathered. Now to complete that part, now remember our dress is 31/35. So meaning that we need 4 inches to complete the length. But because the bottom part is folded, that 4 inches multiplied by 2 is 8. But I'm going to increase mine by 1 extra inch. So I want mine to be 5 inches instead of 4. So now we're left with 10. All right, so and I'm 10 inches plus 1 inch of allowance. That's half inch on both places. You will see how we consume it by the time we are sewing. I'm going to now end up cutting 11. Let me go again. We have 31/35. We need 4 inches to complete it. I decided I want to increase mine to 5. 5 inches times 2 is equals to 10, plus 1 inch for sewing allowance, 11. That's the 11 you are seeing me cut now. Now you would need this 10 inches by, you will cut it at 10 inches by whatever length your fabric is. You need at least 5 pieces. All right, when you're done with that, this is my sleeve here. I have a video on how to draft a sleeve, so that's the top part there. You need to see that video if you've not seen it before. When I folded, I kept inches of allowance at the bottom because I need that allowance to make my sleeve bigger at the end. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my sleeve length at 26 plus 1, 27. All right, and then I'm going to draw a line from there to the end. Just draw a line across that part there. All right, when you're cutting, we're going to taper from the bottom part to the regular armhole that we have there. That's going to give the sleeve that bell effect before you drag the lace that we have at the bottom of the sleeve. So cut here first, then I'm going to taper out. You see what I've done there, and then I'm going to cut the front of the sleeve and the back of the sleeve. All right, after cutting the sleeve, the next step is to start sewing everything together. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to join both sides of the back to the front at the shoulder, consuming half an inch. All right, so you see that, join the second side over here. All right, after stitching, what I have made here is my own improvised bias. So what I simply did, I cut it with a width of 2 inches, and I just cut it to be really long, roughly 20 inches long. And then I folded it the way you've seen me fold it. I folded it like you fold cotton bias. So make sure that when you are cutting this bias, make sure that you cut it on a fold similar to what we use to cut the dress itself. that triangular fold, not a straight fold. That's the triangular fold we are using here. Okay, so make sure that you cut it if you are going to finish your neckline like this, because you have an option to finish it like I'm finishing it now, or you can use a facing, or you can use regular cotton bias. But I like the finish that this gives because it I finished it. I gave it a pipes look similar to what we do on the neckline of senators. All right, and I like that finish. So you can see here, look at how clean it is. I made another top stitch at the top just to finish it. So yeah, that's the look I wanted. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install my zipper. Remember, I kept 1 inch of allowance at the back. I'm going to stitch. By the time I get to the metal part of my zip, I'm going to lock it there. Okay, so watch this. You see the way I'm sewing? I'm using my zip to measure it. Once I get to where the metal is, notice how I backstitched. Okay, notice how I backstitched. Make sure you lock that place. All right, and when I'm done with that, I'm going to take it to my ironing table. I'm going to spread and iron these two parts here. Iron it. Remember to lock it there, that place there. Yeah, after I've ironed it, the next thing is to install my zipper. It's the same method I used in my video, how to install a zipper in less than 4 minutes. I think that's the name, but just check my name in the Ntui, how to install a zipper. You should see the video. So this is the easiest method I know, and also if when properly done, it gives a very clean look. And since we are doing the whole stitch showing outside theme, like around the neckline that we have the stitches showing, you know, I wanted the dress to have a very constructed look, if like when you see it in person. Yeah, so we're going to come to the part where we notched over here. We're going to simply stitch 1/2 inch from that point all the way to the bottom of the dress. I'll do that on the left and I'll do it on the right. So you can see me do that here, where I'm going to simply stitch 1/2 inch here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the dress as well. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do, move to the bottom of the dress. Remember the pieces that I cut at 11 inches that ran the span of the entire fabric. My fabric is by 45, so if you cut your dress by, if the width of the fabric is 60, you would have a longer piece. All right, also if you are a tall, very tall lady, I would advise that you make this dress using by a fabric that has a width of around 60 inches. Mine is 45. The dress is short. If you want the dress to be longer than this, you will definitely have to cut it with the fabric that is by 60. So I have joined all the pieces I have together. All right, remember I said at least 6 pieces for it to be the fullest it can be. So I'm going to simply join them together all the way around to form a loop so that it is round. All right, so I'm about to make the last stitch now. This is the last stitch that binds everything together. All right, so now it's just a loop. So I'm going to spread it flat like so, and then I'm going to collapse it like this to hold it in place. Now remember that so now remember, as if I've told you before, we intend to gather this to the bottom of the dress, so we need this part not to get in the way by the time we are trying to make our gathers. So I'm going to stitch everything, all the top part together, okay, and this is going to hold it in place for when I want to do my gathers. All right, so yeah, the next step is for us to gather this onto the bottom part of our dress. All right, so you place this facing the clean side of your dress. Okay, so the front side of your dress, that's the part I'm stitching this onto right now. All right, so you see why we multiplied the 5. Remember, we had 31/5, and then we had to increase the length. We had to multiply the length by 2. That's because that edge is folded, like you've seen. All right, so now for the sleeve, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hem the bottom parts by folding 1/2 inch twice, like you can see me do here. Simply locking here, folding 1/2 inch twice, and sewing all the way down. And then you're going to get another piece of fabric. Mine is simply 2 inches wide, and it's the same length, just slightly longer than the fabric. But what you want is you want it to be the same length. You see that? And then I'm going to shorten this so that it's the same length. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to my ironing table. I'm going to fold 1 inch over here, 1 inch over here, and then I'm going to collapse both sides by 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. Let me go and iron that, and I'll be back. So you can see, you see the way I've bent and I've folded it. All right, I'm going to come 2 inches away from the end of the sleeve and 1 inch away from the edge, like you can see me do. 2 inches away from the hem, 1 inch away from the edge, and I'm going to stitch the top and the bottom. So you see that whole external stitch thing I was talking about that I was trying to achieve with my zip. After you've done that, you're going to need to cut a piece that is 3.5 inches wide and has a length of 45 inches. You can make it longer than 45. 45 is just the length of my fabric, like I've told you before. We're trying to form the loop that will help us form that gather around your wrist. So that's what we're trying to do now. So 3.5 by 45, I'm going to simply finish it. That's what I want to do now. So I'm going to start, make an L here, stitch all the way down. We're trying to form a loop, so I'm going to turn everything out. You see that? After I turn everything out, finish the rough edge that is left here. So remember, we stitch one corner all the way down, turned inside out from the hole that was left. That's the hole we're sealing now. All right. After that has been done, I'm going to simply poke it with my picker. This is the picker that I use to pick thread, to put in thread into the needle of my overlocker. I'm going to push the lace through, so you can see that now. You see what I've been trying to do. Okay, that's the picker there. But yeah, you can see this rope is the rope that will drag and that would bring the whole sleeve together. I hope that you understand what we've been trying to achieve so far. So yeah, that's it. After you've done that, next thing you're going to do is you're going to join the sides consuming half an inch. So just the bottom of the sleeve with half an inch, turn everything inside out. So look at that. You can see how utilitarian this looks. So yeah, the next thing we're going to do is we'll have to attach this sleeve to our armhole. Next thing, okay, so yeah, this is it. This is the armhole. We're going to come to the bottom of the armhole. You see the way I'm holding it? Place it clean side facing clean side, turn everything inside out, and then I'm going to stitch around here, consuming half an inch. Once I stitch around here, I'm done. There's really nothing much left. If you've come this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to see you in the next video. Do have a lovely day. Bye bye.